What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we are actually on our final subclass of Druids, and it's going to be very exciting. This is the WIldfire Druid, which is very cool. We do not have a fire-themed Druid up till now, and really we're missing a lot of fire-based spells on the Druid spell list. So this serves to possibly be a blaster-type Druid, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun to explore. Before we jump into it, though, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. As you can see, we're very close to getting to 2,000 subscribers, and a lot of you all are not subscribed. So please, don't be that person. Once you've been here for a while, you might as well subscribe. Even if you're new, you might as well subscribe. All the good things. And then, of course, make sure to share the video with your friends and click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded. So the WIldfire Druid actually explains a very interesting part of nature. The fact that fire can be used to not only destroy, but also to cleanse. I think that's a really interesting way to think about this subclass thematically. And when it comes to creating a story for this, it's not just always a bad thing, right? This allows you to create new things from it. It can create new life from the destruction that came before. And I think that leaves you a lot of room for really cool stories to tell, kind of like a phoenix, right? How going down into the ashes and then rises back up anew, right? This is kind of that type of thing. So I think there's a lot of really cool story elements with this. Is it mechanically satisfying though? Let's find out. Starting off at level 2, we start with our circle spells. We get an expanded spell list of spells that are always prepared for us, which is awesome. This is a newer thing for Druids. Not all Druids have this. There was the Land Druid, and then they kind of took a break from that, and then in Tasha's, they brought it back. So this is one from Tasha's that got that feature again. And so we get things like Burning Hands and Cure Wounds right away at 2nd level. At 3rd level, we get Flaming Sphere and Scorching Ray, not too bad. And then at 5th level, we get Plant Growth and Revivify. But I have a really big question. Where is Fireball? 0 out of 10. This is a trash list. Nobody should play this. Okay, not really, but I mean, come on. You don't have Fireball on a fire-based subclass for the Druid. The Druid doesn't get that spell normally, and I will say, in the original Unearthed Arcana for this, it did have Fireball on here, but it was removed, and I don't think that's the right call. I would talk to your DM about replacing either Plant Growth or Revivify with Fireball. You already get access to both of these, so it's not like you're losing any spells by taking either of these off. You're only gaining, and I think that's a lot better for your balance. So Fireball Druid, it needs to happen. And then 7th level, we get Aura of Life and Fire Shield. At 9th level, Flame Strike and Mass Cure Wounds. Overall, this isn't that bad of a list. Most of these are new, which is good. There are several repeats, such as Cure Wounds, Plant Growth, Revivify, so on. But a lot of these are new. A lot of these are brand new fire spells for us, which is really, really cool. This does lend to being a blaster, which is cool. So we are looking to deal a little bit of damage here as a Druid, which Druids have plenty of tools in order to do that in other spells as well. So this just adds on to it. Overall, this is going to be a 7 out of 10 list. Like I said, there are some repeats here, and we don't have Fireball, and that's a little unfortunate, right? It's still a good list. You still get some cool things that you can do, but there's a lot of double up, and we're not getting Fireball, so I can't really go anywhere near perfect. Also at level 2, we get Summon Wildfire Spirit, and this is our alternate use of wild shape, similar to what we've discussed in other subclasses, such as Circle of Spores. We get to use our wild shape to do something different that is not turning into a beast, and this might be worth it. Let's find out. So this is an action, whereas a few of them allow you to do things as a bonus action, but you get to summon a spirit to come next to you. Now this can be a animal companion looking thing of your choice and made of fire or however you want it to look, whatever you want to do. And once it appears, it actually has a little explosion and deals a little bit of damage, which is really cool. It follows your command and shares your initiative, but takes its turn immediately after yours. And if you don't tell it to do anything, then it will just take the dodge action or you can use a bonus action to command it to do something else, and that is really, really cool. If you are incapacitated, then it can do whatever it wants, and it can be around for an hour or until you die. This is pretty cool. Here's the stat block to take a look at there. It's got some interesting things about it, right? Number one, it can fly and it has hover, which is really good. And of course, its hit points scale with a 5 plus 5 times your druid level. So it'll start with 15 HP and then it'll go up from there, and it'll be cool. It'll be really cool. So eventually it will have quite a bit of HP, which is good. It becomes somewhat tanky overall. It is immune to fire damage, which is a great immunity, right? There are a lot of things that deal fire damage, and it's immune to some really nice conditions that normally would affect something like this. It does a little bit of damage with its flame seed. It's 1d6 plus proficiency bonus fire damage. You know, it's a little bit of extra damage on your bonus action, whatever. But what's important here is the fiery teleportation. So what this does is the spirit in each willing creature within 5 feet of it, each willing creature, not just one, not just proficiency bonus, any number of them that are around, can teleport 15 feet away. Then once it's gone, every creature that's left behind has to make a dex save, or else they take some fire damage. This is more important than anything else on this stat block, is the ability to now teleport 15 feet on a bonus action, as long as you are commanding it to do this. That's really good. That is your get out of jail free card, as long as this thing stays near you. And it's also a way to chip away your opponents at the exact same time. This is great, right? This gets you out of melee range. This gets you over very small chasms for free. This is something that's super spammable. You could do this every single turn if you wanted to. So it's going to make you really hard to pin down. And this isn't ended by using wild shape again. So technically you could have your dog or your cat or whatever you want, and then also turn into a beast as well. Of course, that's both of your uses of wild shape, but it might be worth it to do that. And so you can do both at the exact same time. Overall, this is pretty nice, right? The teleportation is the biggest thing. The flame seed isn't going to do a whole lot of damage, but it gets an okay amount of HP. Its AC is low, but I mean, that's fine. And it can fly, so that's also really good. Overall, I'm going to have to give this an 8 out of 10. It's really good, and it's only going to get better as we add more features, and that's just going to be more and more exciting as we grow. At level 6 we get enhanced bond, and this is what allows our creature to be a little bit stronger, and it makes us a little bit stronger as well. So whenever we cast a spell that either does fire damage or heals, then you can actually just add a d8 to it, which is really cool. Now keep in mind, it does say gain a bonus equal to the number rolled on one damage or healing roll of the spell. The main spell that comes to my mind is Scorching Ray, where you have to roll 3 different rays. Then you would actually only add this to 1 ray. So just be careful with that. And that's why they're doing that. You don't get to add the d8 to all 3 rays, unfortunately. And in addition to this, you can also cast spells now from your wildfire spirit, as if you were standing in that space, which is pretty interesting. So this means that you could be around the corner behind cover and your spirit's out doing its thing, and then all of a sudden it just breathes fire everywhere with burning hands. That could be really cool, and it definitely makes it a lot more usable and a lot more versatile in what it can do, and I think that that's really, really awesome as well. Overall, I'm going to give this a 8 out of 10. This is great. It adds on extra damage to what you already were doing, and it just enhances the abilities of your little spirit friend. All good. At level 10, we get Cauterizing Flames, and this is a very interesting ability overall. It's very unique, and I just need to read it to you because it's very cool. So what you can do now is whenever a creature dies within 30 feet of either you or your spirit, there will be a small flame that will flicker above that body. Now, you can then use your reaction when a creature that you can see enters the space with that, and either deal fire damage to them, or you can heal them for 2d10 plus your wisdom modifier. You can do this a number of times per day equal to your proficiency bonus, and it's really Cool, right? Now, this does require some strategic planning, and some of it is going to be out of your control. In fact, a lot of it is probably going to be out of your control as your fighter, as your barbarian, as your other people who are up in the fray are taking down all of these enemies. If you're within 30 feet of them, there will be that spectral flame. You do not have to use your reaction in order to do it, and there can be as many flames as you want on the battlefield. That's one thing that's interesting, is that there can just be a bunch of them and they last for a minute. So, I mean, you've got plenty of time to use it. And so if you have a bunch of creatures that are blocking a path, then that can be really good for taking down that enemy that walked through that space. Or likewise with your barbarian has a little bit of movement left, takes something down and it steps into it, heals up some damage. That's also really, really useful as well. Honestly, that 2d10 plus wisdom modifier is really nice. I mean, 2d10 plus 5 is really good, assuming you are at a +5 bonus by now at level 10. I would assume you are, but maybe not. But it's still really good. I've got to give this a 9 out of 10 overall. I think it's really, really strong, and I think it's really, really good at helping your party. Finally, level 14, we get Blazing Revival, and this allows us to actually sacrifice our little spirit for us to live on. So as long as our spirit is out and within 120 feet of us, whenever we reach 0 hit points and fall unconscious, we can actually choose to do that to our spirit, where our spirit will become extinguished. Then what happens is we actually regain half of our hit points and immediately are no longer prone. You remember how I said that it was kind of like a phoenix that rises from the ashes of something? That's what this is, right? This is your phoenix moment. Yes, you can only do this once per long rest, but it's very good. It's great to be able to say, well, you know, you knocked me to 0 HP. I'm standing right back up, not with 1 like a half orc, with half of my health. Imagine putting this with half orc so that you could do that twice in a row. That's kind of dumb, but I think that this is really, really strong overall. This is a 10 out of 10 feature, right? It's a feature you are already going to be using by having out your little spirit. As long as your spirit is alive, then this is going to be your absolute saving grace if you are to be hit with maybe a big crit, if something were to just nickel and dime you down and you just couldn't get away to safety, anything like that, your dog or your cat or whatever you want it to be can save you. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So where does that leave us with the Circle of WIldfire Druid? It's good. It's good. It's not the best druid out there, like I'm sure you are aware, but it is pretty good. It does a lot of things right. It does a lot of things unique. It has a lot of blasting potential, which I know a lot of people are always looking for the ability to be a blaster, and this is a great way to do it. The problem with it is, number one, you are kind of catty-corded into only using fire spells for your damage. Now, these are always prepared for you, so you don't necessarily have to go out of your way in prepping a bunch of fire stuff. So you have all of your prepared slots left in order to do whatever you want with this, but you are kind of catty-corded into only dealing fire damage. As you probably are aware, fire is a commonly resisted damage type, despite us having all of these really good spells. So it means that we're probably going to have to go looking for some feats, possibly some multi-classing, in order to really enhance this subclass to kind of where we want it to be. And if something's immune to fire, then you're just going to have to go with a different strategy altogether. But we are a prepared caster at the same time, and so if we don't have enough of our blasty spells that are non-fire one day, we can just swap those out for others and be totally fine on a long rest. So the ability to do this is kind of negated by the overall class of the druid, but it's still got a little bit that's holding it back. Overall, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. You probably weren't expecting that high of a ranking, but I do think that this is a very, very good subclass. I think that your little friend that goes around and teleports you everywhere is going to be so helpful in a lot of situations that you just don't really think about until it happens in game. When I first read this feature, I think I really underestimated it. But the more that I've kind of sat on it, the more I realized that this is really good. It's not enough to get us up to the Moon Druid again, just like what we had last week with the Stars Druid, but it's good. It's good. I do think Stars slightly edges this one out, ever so slightly. But I do think that both of those are 9s as well. So here on the screen is all of our Druid rankings, all of our subclass rankings. Of course, let me know down below what you think of this subclass and what you think of my overall rankings. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? I'd love to know down below. Later this week, we are of course going to be building one of these together, and I'm very excited to bring that to you. And then next week, we're moving on to a new class, and I am also looking forward to that. Until then, stay safe out there, stay healthy, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.